It was 11:59 p.m. on Valentine's Day, and I was staring at my phone like it was a life support machine. 1 minute left. Just one. I told myself I wasn't waiting. I told myself I didn't care. But my screen brightness was turned all the way up. Volume on, ringer on, phone face up on the table. Just in case. 3 weeks earlier, she said she needed space. Not a breakup, not closure, just space. The word sounds harmless when you say it out loud. Soft, mature, reasonable. But space doesn't mean neutral. Space means someone is stepping back to see if life feels lighter without you in it. I didn't want to believe that, so I did what she asked. I didn't text first, I didn't double message, I didn't ask who she was out with, because every time I questioned something, she'd look at me like I just accused her of a crime. You're overthinking. You're too intense. Why can't you just relax? So I relaxed, or at least I tried to. Midnight hit. 12 a.m. My phone didn't move. No vibration, no notification, no Happy Valentine's Day, heart, just silence. And that silence felt louder than any argument we'd ever had. I sat there for maybe 30 seconds. Then I did the one thing I promised myself I wouldn't do. I opened Instagram. Her story was still up. I tapped it. Candlelight. Soft music in the background. A rooftop restaurant downtown. She was laughing. That quiet, head-tilted laugh she used to give me when she felt safe. Across from her, him. Jason. The guy from her gym. The guy she told me not to worry about. I couldn't see his whole face, just his hand resting casually on the table. Close to hers. Close enough. The caption said, "Some connections just feel right." My stomach dropped so fast it felt like I'd missed a step in the dark. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't explosive. It was cold. Like someone quietly unplugged something inside my chest. She didn't need space. She needed someone else. And somehow, even after seeing that, even after knowing, a small, pathetic part of me still hoped my phone would light up. That's when I realized something that scared me more than losing her. I wasn't just grieving a person. I was grieving the version of myself who believed I was enough, and I didn't know how to get him back. If you've ever stared at your phone waiting for someone who swore they loved you, if you've ever been told you were too much just for wanting reassurance, if you've ever slowly felt yourself shrinking just to keep someone from leaving, you're not crazy, you're not dramatic, and you're not alone. On this channel, we tell the stories people are too afraid to say out loud, the humiliations, the gaslighting, the quiet spirals that happen after midnight when everyone else looks happy online. Because sometimes hearing someone survive what you're going through is the first step towards surviving it yourself. So if this already feels familiar, stay. This one's going to hit close. I met her on a Tuesday, not at a bar, not on a dating app, at a coffee shop near campus. I was 27, finishing my psychology honors research. My life was structured around deadlines, research proposals, and data sets. Predictable, controlled. She was none of those things. The cafe was packed that day. Midterms week. Students everywhere. She walked in like she owned the place. Confident. Loud in a way that didn't feel obnoxious, just magnetic. She stopped at my table. "Is this seat taken?" I looked up. She didn't wait for my answer. She just sat down. I remember thinking that was bold. "I promise I don't bite," she said, smiling, "unless you're into that." I laughed. I don't laugh easily with strangers, but with her, it felt automatic. We started talking because she noticed the stack of research papers in front of me. "Are you actually reading that or pretending to look smart?" "Pretending," I said, "It's a lifestyle." She liked that answer. We talked for 2 hours. Music, childhood stories, bad dates, future plans. She asked real questions. What scares you? What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? No one had ever asked me things like that on a first conversation. When she got up to leave, she said something that stuck with me. "You're different." How? She didn't explain. She just smiled like she'd already decided something about me. That night, I replayed the conversation in my head like a highlight reel. It felt rare, intentional, like fate had leaned in slightly. We started seeing each other almost immediately. By week 2, she was staying over. By week 3, she left a toothbrush at my place. By month 2, she was sending me apartment listings, just for fun. And by month 4, she was talking about Italy. "We'd be so cute in Florence," she said, one night, scrolling through travel photos while lying on my chest. "You'd analyze the art. I'd make friends with strangers." I could see it. I could see us there. And that's how attachment forms. Not in reality, in imagination. The first red flag wasn't loud. It didn't come with a dramatic argument. It came wrapped in charm. She loved attention, not in a shallow way, in a necessary way. At restaurants, she needed the best seat. At parties, she needed the room's gravity to bend towards her. If someone else was the center of attention too long, she'd drift towards another circle. I told myself that was confidence. I told myself I was lucky to be with someone so vibrant. The first humiliation happened at Marcus's birthday party. She wore a red dress, the kind that makes conversations pause. I watched heads turn when she walked in. Part of me felt proud, like I'd won something. Jason was there. Tall, gym-built, easy smile. I'd seen him before. She mentioned him casually. Just a guy from my gym. They started talking almost immediately. I stood nearby holding her jacket and her drink while she leaned closer to him to hear what he was saying. She laughed, touched his arm. At one point, he whispered something and she threw her head back laughing. Someone asked how we met. She wrapped her arm around me and said, "Oh, this is my emotional support human." Everyone laughed. I laughed too, because what do you do when you feel small in front of 10 people? You pretend you don't. Later that night, in the car, I told her it bothered me. She stared out the window. Oh my God, it was a joke. It didn't feel like one. You're so sensitive sometimes. Sensitive. The word landed heavier than it should. I didn't want to be sensitive. I wanted to be secure, stable, the kind of man she said she needed after her toxic ex. So I swallowed it. That's how denial starts. You convince yourself your discomfort is immaturity. Over time, jokes turned into commentary. You don't go out enough. You overanalyze everything. You make things heavy. Heavy. I started editing myself, talking less about my research, laughing more, going out even when I was exhausted. Because when she was warm, she was intoxicating. She'd grab my face and say, "You're my safe place," and I'd forget everything else. But warmth started coming in waves, unpredictable. One week she'd be affectionate. The next week she felt distant. Texts shorter, kisses distracted. And I found myself chasing the version of her from the beginning. That's the trap. You fall in love with potential, and then you spend the relationship trying to resurrect it. By month 8, something inside me felt unstable. She guarded her phone more, turned it face down, smiled at notifications. When I asked who it was, her tone shifted instantly. Why does it matter? I was just asking. Do you not trust me? Suddenly, I felt guilty. Why didn't I trust her? Was I insecure? I started second-guessing my instincts. My chest would tighten when she'd mention Jason casually. Oh yeah, he said something funny at the gym. Why was he texting her? Why was he part of her daily stories? But every time I brought him up, she'd sigh. You're creating something out of nothing. So I started believing I was. That's the thing about gaslighting. It doesn't feel like someone manipulating you. It feels like you slowly losing confidence in your own perception. The real shift happened the night she said she needed space. We were sitting on my couch. No fight, no yelling, just quiet distance. "I think I need some space," she said calmly. The word hit harder than I expected. Space for what? I don't know. I feel overwhelmed. By me? She hesitated. By everything. Everything. Such a vague word. It leaves no anchor. We didn't break up. She didn't say she didn't love me. She just said she needed time. And I told myself, mature people give space. Mature people don't panic. Mature people don't cling. So I didn't text first. I didn't ask where she was. I told myself if I gave her freedom, she'd choose me. I didn't realize she was already testing life without me, and I was still holding the door open. Space is supposed to feel calm. That's what I told myself. Space is healthy. Space is mature. Space gives clarity. But what no one tells you is that space feels different depending on who asked for it. If you both agree to step back, it feels mutual. If only one person asks, it feels like waiting in a hallway while someone decides if you're still worth opening the door for. The first week of space was quiet. She didn't text, I didn't text. I kept checking my phone anyway. Every notification spike sent adrenaline through my chest. But it was never her. I told myself this was good, healthy. We were just recalibrating. But by the second week, silence started to feel intentional. Her Instagram stories didn't stop. That's what made it worse. She was out, brunch with friends, gym selfies, a blurry boomerang clinking glasses at a bar. She looked light, like nothing was heavy in her world. Meanwhile, I was sitting on my couch staring at our last text exchange like it was a crime scene. The last message from her read, "Let's just breathe for a bit." Breathe? I felt like I was suffocating. My roommate, Ethan, noticed. "You good?" he asked one night while I was scrolling her page for the 5th time. "Yeah." "You've been saying yeah a lot." I shrugged. "It's just space." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "That's usually pre-breakup language, man." I hated that he said that, because I'd already thought it, but hearing it out loud made it real. "No," I said quickly. "She just needs time." "For what?" I didn't have an answer. That's when suspicion started creeping in, not loud, but persistent. I replayed moments. The party, the jokes, Jason's name popping up more often. Then I remembered something small. 3 weeks before she asked for space, we were lying in bed and her phone buzzed. She grabbed it too quickly, too protective. "Who's that?" I asked casually. "Just the group chat." She turned the phone face down. At the time, I ignored the tight feeling in my chest. Now it replayed differently. That's the thing about hindsight. It turns whispers into warnings. One night, I broke. I texted her, "Hey, just checking in." 5 minutes passed, 10, 30. She was active online. Finally, "Hey, I'm out right now. Can we talk later?" "Where? With who?" I almost asked, but I didn't want to be too intense. That word had become my leash. Later that night, she called. Her voice sounded distracted. "I just don't want you overthinking this." "I'm not. You always do. I'm just trying to understand." "There's nothing to understand. I need space. Why can't you respect that?" The tone shift was subtle but sharp. Suddenly, I was the one violating something. I apologized again. After we hung up, I sat in the dark and realized something unsettling. Every time I asked for reassurance, I ended up feeling guilty. That's not how reassurance is supposed to work. The third week was worse. She posted less, but strategically. Stories that didn't show who she was with, angles that felt cropped. It sounds insane when I say it out loud, analyzing camera angles. But heartbreak turns you into a detective. Then came the night everything almost exploded. She came over to grab a hoodie she'd left at my place. The energy was different, detached, polite, like we were coworkers. We stood awkwardly in my living room. "How you been?" she asked. "Fine." "You look tired." "I haven't been sleeping great." She didn't ask why. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and for a split second I saw the screen. Jason. My chest tightened. "Why is he texting you this late?" I asked before I could stop myself. Her expression changed instantly. Cold. "You're doing this again." "Doing what?" "This, the interrogation." "I'm not interrogating. You don't trust me." "That's not what I said." "You're exhausting sometimes, you know that?" Exhausting. There it was again. Not sensitive this time. Exhausting. I felt small, like a child being scolded. "You asked for space," she continued, "and this is why." "Because I asked who was texting you?" "Because you make everything heavy. Heavy. Intense. Sensitive. Exhausting." The pattern was clear, but I still couldn't fully accept it. I apologized. Again. She grabbed the hoodie and left, and I sat there feeling like I had just committed a crime. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 1:30 a.m., I opened Instagram. Her story was up. Dark lighting, loud music, a bar I didn't recognize. I watched closely. On the second slide, a quick pan across the table, and there he was, Jason. Not tagged, not centered, but there, close, leaning toward her. She wasn't hiding it. She was just making sure I'd have to look closely to see it. That's when the anxiety turned into something else. Not suspicion, certainty. But I still needed proof. The next morning, I texted her, "Are you seeing him?" Straightforward, no emotion. Her reply came fast this time. "Wow." That's all it said. "Wow? I can't believe you'd accuse me of that." "I'm asking. It's none of your business who I hang out with. I thought we were working on us. We're on a break." Break. She hadn't used that word before. "You said space." Same thing. It wasn't the same thing. Space implies temporary distance. Break implies evaluation, replacement. "You're twisting my words," she continued. "This is exactly why I needed space. You don't trust me." And suddenly, I felt like I'd done something wrong. Again. I stared at my phone for 10 full minutes before typing, "I'm sorry." The moment I sent it, I hated myself a little. Because deep down, I knew I wasn't wrong, but being right felt riskier than being alone. That's when Valentine's Day crept closer. February 10th, February 11th, February 12th. I wondered if she'd reach out, if she'd acknowledge it, if maybe space had done its job. On February 13th, she posted a mirror selfie. Red dress, the same one from Marcus's party. Caption, "Ready for tomorrow." Heart. My stomach flipped. Ready for what? I didn't text. I told myself maybe she had plans with friends. Maybe I was spiraling. Maybe I was, once again, being too much. Valentine's Day came. I didn't text first. I waited, hour by hour, convincing myself that if she cared, she'd say something. 6 p.m., nothing. 8 p.m., nothing. 10 p.m., still nothing. That's when the doubt turned into dread. And by 11:59 p.m., you already know what happened. Midnight. Silence. Instagram. Candlelight. Jason. Some connections just feel right. Shock doesn't feel explosive. It feels quiet, like the air leaves the room. I stared at that story until it expired, and then I did something I'd never done before. I stopped defending her in my head, because no amount of context could justify that. Space doesn't look like candlelit dinners. Space doesn't look like secret captions. Space doesn't look like emotional replacement. It looks like transition, and I was the one being transitioned out. I picked up my phone. My hands were steady. That surprised me. I typed, "I saw it." 3 dots appeared almost immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. It's not what you think. The most predictable sentence in human history. It looks exactly like what I think. "You're being dramatic." There it was. Dismissal. Cold. Sharp. Final. And for the first time in months, Something inside me didn't rush to apologize. It didn't panic. It didn't beg. It just went still. Because suddenly the confusion was gone. The doubt was gone. The gaslighting lost its grip. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't intense. I wasn't overthinking. I was right. And being right hurt more than being confused. That was the night denial ended, and heartbreak became real. After I texted, I saw it. Something inside me felt strangely calm. Not relieved, not healed, just still. Her reply sat on my screen. "You're being dramatic." 3 words. Months of doubt condensed into 3 words. I didn't respond immediately. That was new for me. Usually, I rushed to fix things, to soften tension, to reassure her I wasn't attacking. But this time, I stared at the message and felt something unfamiliar. Distance. Not from her, from the version of myself who kept apologizing. I typed, "Are you seeing him?" She responded quickly, "We're just hanging out." On Valentine's Day? You're reading too much into it. There it was again. Overthinking, dramatic, reading too much into it. My chest tightened, but not in the usual anxious way. It felt like clarity.